when the wind whispers your name. In a quiet coastal village nestled between the cliffs and the sea, lived a young woman named Alara. She was a painter, known for capturing the soul of the ocean in every brushstroke. Her days were spent under the sun, her canvas facing the waves, and her heart always listening to the wind. One spring afternoon, as Alara painted by the shore, a stranger appeared. He was tall, with windswept hair and eyes like stormy skies. His name was Aiden, a traveling writer seeking solace and inspiration after losing his younger brother in a tragic accident. Their first meeting was quiet. He asked if he could sit beside her, and she nodded without looking away from her canvas. They continued to meet there for days. Aiden brought books, sometimes reading aloud while Alara painted. In the beginning, there were no confessions, no grand gestures. Just the shared silence and the music of the waves. Slowly, stories unfolded. Alara told him of her dreams to one day paint something that would make people feel love just by looking at it. Aiden spoke of his grief and his guilt, of the way he hadn't written a single word since the funeral. One day, Alara gave him a blank canvas. "Maybe you just need a new space to begin," she said gently. That night, Aiden wrote his first story in months. It was about a girl who painted the wind and a man who had forgotten how to breathe until he saw her smile. As the weeks turned into months, their bond grew. They cooked together, walked along the cliffs at sunset, and shared old records in her tiny cottage. Aiden would read her drafts, and she would paint what his words made her feel. Their hearts became entangled in a rhythm as natural as the tide. But love, as beautiful as it is often tested by time. Aiden received a letter from a major publisher in New York who had read his new manuscript. They wanted to meet him, offer a book deal, and possibly fund a nationwide tour. It was everything he had dreamed of before the grief silenced his ambition. He was torn. To go meant leaving Alara and the world they had built together. To stay meant possibly losing his chance to become the writer he had once aspired to be. Alara, ever understanding, told him, "You should go. If your heart is meant to return, it will. I'll be here, painting the sea, waiting for the wind to whisper your name again." With a heavy heart, Aiden left. Months passed. Letters came, fewer and farther between. Alara buried herself in her work, painting every sunrise, every shadow. She missed him, terribly, but she never asked him to return. A year later, on the anniversary of the day they met, Alara stood by the cliffs with a canvas in her hand. The wind was strong, and she whispered, "Where are you, Aiden?" And then she heard a voice behind her, "Right here." She turned, eyes wide. There he was, older, his eyes tired, but warm. In his hand was a published book. On the cover was her painting, and the title, "When the Wind Whispers Your Name." "I wrote about us," he said. "About the girl who gave me breath again. I went out into the world, but no matter where I was, it was always your voice I heard in the wind." Tears streamed down her face as he took her hands. "I'm home, Alara. If you'll have me." She smiled through the tears, pressing her forehead to his. "I've always been yours." And under the setting sun, surrounded by the sea and wind that had once brought them together, they kissed, softly, finally, forever. A song beneath the sycamore tree. In a quiet countryside village nestled between golden hills and sleepy rivers, there lived a girl named Alara. She was known for her gentle smile and the way she played her violin beneath the old sycamore tree that stood at the edge of the village square. Every evening, her music would float through the dusk like whispers of a forgotten lullaby, drawing people from their homes to listen. But Alara didn't play for them, she played for someone who had left long ago. Years earlier, before the war swept across the land, there had been a boy named Aiden. He was a dreamer, a poet, and Alara's best friend since childhood. They would spend hours lying in the grass, staring at the sky, sharing stories and secrets. As they grew, the friendship bloomed into something deeper, something sacred. On the night before he left to join the army, Aiden kissed Alara beneath the sycamore tree and whispered, "Wait for me." And so she did. Seasons came and went. Letters arrived, sometimes once a month, sometimes not at all. But Alara never gave up hope. She played the violin every evening beneath the same tree, as if the wind might carry her music to wherever Aidan was. Her love was steady and patient, rooted deep like the old sycamore that listened to her every note. One summer evening, 5 years after he'd gone, the village square was bustling with celebration. The war had finally ended. People danced and sang, tears and laughter mixing in the twilight air. But Alara stood quietly at her tree, playing a melody that trembled with longing. Then, from the edge of the crowd, a voice whispered, "Alara." She stopped. The bough slipped from her fingers. She turned slowly, and there he was. His uniform was worn, a small scar crossed his cheek, and his eyes, those same deep eyes that held the sky in them. Aidan had returned. He walked toward her, hesitant, almost in disbelief. She reached for him with trembling hands, touching his face as if to make sure he was real. Then, without a word, she embraced him, and it felt like all the empty years melted away from him. "I told you I'd come back," he murmured into her hair. "I never stopped playing," she whispered. That night, they sat beneath the sycamore tree, fingers intertwined, hearts finally whole again. The stars blinked above them, and the wind carried a new melody, a song of reunion, of love that endured, and of promises kept beneath the boughs of a tree that had witnessed it all. The light beneath the pines. In the quiet coastal town of Elms Bay, where the sea met the cliffs with a gentle roar and the pine trees stood like ancient guardians of time, lived a woman named Lila Marin. She was a painter, known not for fame or fortune, but for the way her brush captured emotions so raw they seemed to echo with every heartbeat. Lila lived alone in a small wooden cottage nestled between the forest and the sea. Her days were spent painting, her nights filled with the sound of the wind in the pines and the whispers of waves crashing below. She wasn't lonely, at least, that's what she always told herself. But every sunset left a hollow silence she could never quite fill. One rainy afternoon in late October, a knock came at her door. It was unusual, most visitors avoided the cliffs during storms. She opened it to find a tall, dark-haired man in a soaked coat, holding a broken compass and a gentle smile. "Sorry to bother you," he said, his voice deep and kind. "I was hiking and lost my way. I saw the smoke from your chimney." She invited him in, made him tea, and offered him a seat by the fire. His name was Elias Quinn, a travel writer passing through Elms Bay on his way to the north. The storm forced him to pause his journey, but fate had something more in mind. That one night turned into 2, and then 3. Elias was charming, soft-spoken, and carried stories from every corner of the world. In return, Lila showed him her studio, the sea, and the places the tourists never saw, hidden coves, mossy trails, and the old lighthouse where the stars felt close enough to touch. They fell in love quietly. There was no grand declaration, no dramatic kiss in the rain. Just long walks where their hands brushed, silent moments that said more than words, and the comfort of existing together. He watched her paint as though witnessing a miracle. She listened to his stories like they were poetry. But time, as always, moved forward. When the roads cleared and the storm passed, Elias stood at her doorstep with his travel bag. "I don't want to leave," he said, "but I don't want to ask you to follow me either. This is your home." Lila looked at him, heart trembling. "And you are becoming mine." He left with a promise, not a farewell. Letters followed. Every week. Handwritten, sealed with pressed flowers or sketches. He wrote about foreign sunsets in crowded cities, but always ended with, "None of it compares to the light beneath your pines." Seasons passed. Lila waited, painted, loved him across distance. Then, on a spring morning when the world smelled of salt and pine, she woke to find him standing by her garden, holding a bouquet of wildflowers and the same old compass, this time, repaired. "I found my way back," Elias said softly, stepping closer. "If you'll still have me." She didn't answer with words. She simply kissed him. And from that day on, Lila painted with a new kind of light, one that danced through every canvas like laughter, like love, like Elias.